Well, we have reached Friday, and April texted me, and thank you, April, for letting me know that I was teaching you lessons that we already had, and that happened because I did not have my lesson plan book when I initially made lesson plans for you guys. I had left them at school, and I was trying to go by memory, and for me, that's never a good thing. But thank you, April, for telling me where we really are at. So I know on the lessons plans today I had another page number, but we need to really go up to page 151, which is good. It's a little bit closer to being at the end of the book. So I'll get right into this. We are actually going to do page 151 and 152 today. So let's go through this. Up to this point, we've talked about nouns a lot, but we've always talked about nouns as being the subject of the sentence. Also, we've talked about them as being what we call objects of the preposition. So, nouns can be subjects or objects. And we've talked about objects of the preposition. For instance, if I go down to number 1 in Think A, of the Reformation, there's a prepositional phrase. It will start with a preposition. It will end with a noun. And this noun is called the object of the preposition. So today we're going to talk about nouns that can act as what we call predicate nominatives. And nominatives is just a fancy name for noun. And predicate is a fancy name for verb and for direct objects. So what is the difference? Both of them are nouns. Predicate nominatives, a noun will be called a predicate nominative if it's coming after a state of being verb. So if I look at this verb in this sentence, the quarterback is my friend. This is called this is a stating being verb. It's acting like a linking verb, though. I know there's so many terms, but the only reason it's called a linking verb is because it's linking quarterback and friend. They're the same thing. Okay, so we have a state of being verb right here. And we have quarterback as our subject, and quarterback is our friend. So friend is a noun, quarterback is a noun. Quarterback is acting as the subject. Friend is another noun. It's called a predicate nominative. They will label it as PN, as you can see right here. PN for predicate nominative. Coming after a state of being verb. It's acting like a linking verb. It's not really doing any action. It's just joining these two together. Therefore, when we diagram it, we put it on a slanted line, but we put it on the main line with the subject and the verb. See that? You can have compound predicate nominatives. So here, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. I don't know what it means to let your ink dry. All right. Down here, the guests, I'm right here. The guests were my aunt and uncle. So in this one, here's another state of being verb. And it is linking guests, which is more than one, to aunt and uncle. They are both predicate nominatives. So diagram guests were slanted line, because this is not an action verb. So these two are called predicate nominatives. So you diagram them just the way we've done compound subjects and compound verbs. All right, so now let's go to direct objects. So what's the difference between a direct object and a predicate nominative? The main difference is the verb. Over here, we have action verbs. We have an action taking place. In this sentence, we have throw. So the quarterback, who's the subject, what is he throwing? A pass. All right. In this sentence down here, you, have eaten, part of the verb, right? Have eaten. That's the helping verb. So you is the subject. Remember, in a question, the subject is going to be in between the verb. You have eaten what? Grits or grains. All right. So we have action verbs here. We have a noun that's receiving the action. The quarterback is doing what? He's throwing a what? A pass. You have eaten what? Grits or turnip greens. Notice up here we have or. It's not and. It's not always and. Sometimes it's or. So just as a little bit of a review, because I know we do a little bit more than just the normal diagramming. The would go here. And my friend and good friend would go under here. They're adjectives describing the friend. Quarterback, the quarterback, through a pass, a good pass. Adjectives. All those are adjectives. The guess. Remember a, an, and the. Don't forget. They are the articles. And they always act as adjectives. They let us know a noun is coming. The guests were my aunt and uncle. You have eaten grits or turnip greens. Now, turnip is also a noun, but here turnip is describing what kind of greens. So sometimes nouns can act like adjectives. Interesting. Okay. All right. We're going to do Think A together. And then what I think I'll do, let me look on the back here. There's a lot on here. Okay, I do want you to do some diagramming, and I can't do a whole lot of diagramming on this page. Let's work through a few, and then I'll decide on some to give you to work besides this, okay? All right. Was Martin Luther the leader of the Reformation? All right, let's make it a statement. Martin Luther was the leader. That way you can see it easier. Martin Luther, that's his whole name, so that will act as the subject. He was, that's a stated being verb, acting like a linking verb. What was he? He was the leader. So leader, coming after a stated being, linking verb, would be a predicate nominative. And don't forget that. All right, let's diagram it. You get a sheet of paper out and I'll try to fit it over here on the right. All right, so we have Martin Luther was, I'm going to write really small here, small as this pen will let me. He was slanted line leader. Oh, lost my pen for some reason. Okay, that's the main part. That's the part I'd grade you on. If you want extra credit, we could put the under here. Okay, he was leader of the Reformation. Of the Reformation is not describing was, it's describing what he was the leader of. I'm going to run out of room, but you would do of Reformation, I'll abbreviate it, and the under there. That would be extra credit. All right. Get rid of all my scribbles. Okay, here we go. The usher seated the visitor in the third row. All right, so usher is the subject. And what did he do? He seated. And who did he seat? Visitor. And so this is an action verb. So visitor would be the direct object. And I need to follow my own rule. Get rid of prepositional phrases first. I'll try to do that from here on out. All right, so let's diagram. We have an usher. and they seated. Straight up and down line, because this was an action verb, and this is a direct object. That's what those lines will tell somebody looking at it, that this is a direct object, this is an predicate nominative. All right. If you want extra credit, where he seated the visitor would be in, would actually be row here, and you would have the and third underneath it, and the usher. I think I got it all. Oh, the visitor. So all of this would be extra credit right here. All right. I go above and beyond, and I'll give you above and beyond grade. Let's do number 4. We'll skip number 3 and go to number 4. That little island on the map is Tahiti. All right. What is the prepositional phrase here? Yep, on the map. So what's the subject? The island is the subject. Is a linking verb. Linking island to Tahiti, they're one and the same. So you have a linking verb. So here, this is called a predicate nominative. All right, let's diagram it. Island is linking verb, so predicate nominative, slanted line. Tahiti, whoops. Yeah. Try this again. All right. Where is the island? It's describing the island. That's on map. That would be extra credit. Oh, we also have, probably should have done these first. That, you put them down here in the order they appear in the sentence. This is why we use pencils, right? And just extend the line. And I think we got it all. That would be extra credit all under here. All right. Let's do number 5. A steamship collects 100 tons of barnacles every year. All right, any prepositional phrases? Right there. All right, we have a steamship is the subject, and what does the steamship do? It collects. That's definitely an action verb. What does it collect? Now, this is a really good example of why we do the prepositional phrase right here. Without marking the prepositional phrase, you would be tempted to say the barnacles, because that's exactly what he's collecting, barnacles. But of barnacles is in a prepositional phrase, so it cannot be the direct object. So what is it if it's not of barnacles? It's tons. Interesting, isn't it? All right, let's diagram it. This will be a interesting one to diagram. Steamship collects, and straight up and down because it's an action verb. Direct object, tons. Now let's fill in the rest of the stuff. A steamship, 100 tons. You know what? I'm gonna go back on this because 100 means one thing. So I'm thinking we should have it like this. I may be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. 100 of barnacles. I'm going to run out of spots, so of barnacles. I'll just put a B there. When he collects every year. Now, he collects every year. I think, this one's a little tricky. I think I'm going to leave that one for now. It's when he collects every year. I have to look this one up. This one's stumping me a bit. Because that's definitely acting like when an adverb here. It might just be every year. Or it could be like that. Not positive. But those are extra credit. If you don't like that, just leave it. Because it would be extra credit anyway. Alright, let's do... let me see if I can find a hard one. Oh, let's do number 10. The tongue tastes sweet flavors at the tip, but it tastes bitter flavors toward the back. Alright, do you remember what the comma and the but in the middle tell us? Yep, we have 2 sentences. So we're going to have tons of diagramming. Alright, let's do the first sentence. Do you see a prepositional phrase? Right here. Alright, so it's the tongue. And what does the tongue do? The tongue is not tasting, but it tastes. This is also a linking verb. Tastes. No, actually, I'm incorrect. I think here it's an action verb because the tongue is tasting flavors. All right, so what is he tasting? I already gave it to you. Flavors, so that would be the direct object. All right, let's take the second half. It would be the subject, still talking of the tongue. Tastes, flavors again. And toward the back would be a prepositional phrase. So we got 2 prepositional phrases and 2 sentences. All right, let's diagram it up here. So you have the tongue, and it tastes. It is action. And what does it taste? Flavors. All right. Remember, we connect compound sentences in the verb. We make our little ladder. It's just going to be a little tricky here in my little bit of space. Then we have it, and it tastes again. Flavors again. All right. And the word but right there. Okay, so we have the main part. If you want extra credit, you can add all the adjectives and adverbs, prepositional phrases. So we have a the, and we have sweet flavors. So we add sweet. At the tip, the flavors are where. So it's describing where the flavors are. At tip, the. And then the other sentence, it tastes bitter flavors. Describing flavors and where they are. I'm going to round space. I'll just make a really little one here. Toward, I'll just put a T there because that's all I can fit. Back and the. But all those would be extra credit. All right. So let me get to the next page and tell you what to do for today. All right. So we have 10 sentences on the back. I'm going to let you choose whichever 5 you want. Oh, let me get back there. There we go. Alright, so pick whatever 5 right here you want. I'll let you choose 5 of them. So you'll label them. Remember, the only thing you have to label, I'm going to say you have to label the prepositional phrases. Label them first, okay? Label the prepositional phrases first. That way you won't be tempted to label the noun and the prepositional phrases as a subject or direct object. And then secondly, you would label the subjects. Third, the verbs. And then fourth, label it as